So, Nation Network, what do you want to talk about? I actually watched a little bit of AEW, not a lot. Just enough to remind me why I don't watch it. Oh, this is already funny. Just the headline. The list of moves and actions that are now banned from AEW or need to be approved by the company.
Maybe that's why Nash is pissed off, because he went for Brock and Austin and not try to duplicate him.
Well, it'd be easier to duplicate him. You only have to learn 5 moves.
Like you said, and we've all been saying, Tony Khan, you need a hierarchy, and he gets one, and then we make fun of it.
Because he's sitting back there talking about the Brock match, and finally we had a wrestling match. Finally we got 2 guys telling a story. They weren't outside in the ring the whole time. One of them
was he not watching the same match as we were?
Yeah, those games, man, I would say, like, for me, like, the best ones, I would say, are, like, the ones where they try to get a certain, like, time.
This is my entire IT team right here on screen. Everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for WretleChat. How about that? So, yeah, Survivor Series happened last night, in case you didn't know. Gonna be bringing in my buddy, my sidekick, partner in crime, you know, all those accolades that he ends up with. We have not discussed anything really because I didn't get to watch it until this morning. We'll talk about that as well. But here is the one, the only, as I wake up the audience here, they're sleeping. They're still sleeping. Dadgummit, they are asleep. There they go. J-Rocks.
What's up?
Not me, apparently. So let's start with why I had to wait till today to watch it, because I miss the old WWE network, you know, the one that actually was a wrestling network that worked the way it ought to. So after the live stream goes off the air, you can't just like replay it. It takes them time before they can get you to the point where you can replay it. And as of like 1 a.m., you still couldn't replay it. And I was like, screw this. So with the old network, if you got there at 10:50, you could start from the beginning and catch up.
Right.
You can't do that with the Peacock network. You're just gonna have to wait till tomorrow. But anyway, that all said, I guess really it's all about the big news right now, which is, of course, the return of R-Truth.
Oh.
What, did you think we were talking about something else?
I thought so, yeah.
Oh, man, R-Truth is back, baby.
I know. And he brought his own chips.
Ripples.
Yeah.
Ruffles, excuse me. Hey, what do I care? They're not sponsoring me. So R-Truth is back, and then, of course, Randy Orton is back. We knew he was coming back. They didn't
my
want to
God.
mislead anyone.
He is in the best shape he has ever been in.
He looked pretty damn good. I got to home in time to turn it on right when War Games went into the match beyond. So last entrant in, I was like, do I want to watch the ending? I said, you know what? I'm going to end up seeing something on social media. It's going to spoil it anyway.
Right.
And I figured, I'll start jumping in now and we'll watch it. And turned out that wasn't a bad point to join in because there was some good stuff there. And of course, that RKO at the end was just freaking phenomenal.
Yes.
JD, I'll tell you what, at this point in time, he's still trying to find his chest. He splashed off the top of that cage, man.
I will say this about that man. He is not afraid to take any kind of move from anybody, because since he's been on the main roster, he has taken hit after hit after hit after hit, and it's just been insane. I always liked him in when he was in NXT UK. I liked him when he came over to the regular NXT brand, and he's still showing me why I liked him back then. So good to him.
Yeah, he's definitely putting it out on the line. No two ways about that. Going over the rundown of what took place last night. Team Bianca won the women's War Games match. I watched most of that. I was kind of in and out, but I did see a lot of it. Thought it was a pretty good match.
Yep.
Gunther and The Miz. I didn't watch a lot of it only because I already knew who was going to win, and there just wasn't any.
Miz went
there's
out.
no chance he was losing to The Miz. I didn't see why I'm going
Right.
to watch a lot of it.
Miz went out and did what he needed to do. He gave Gunther a solid match, and I like you said, we wasn't expecting Miz to win, but he gave him a good match, and that's all that he was asked to do. So,
and that's where the problem comes in, though, is that eventually you have to have him win. You have to have the guy who can't possibly win the match. Otherwise, why are we watching the match?
That's going to be Chad Gable.
Would have been, could have been, should have been already.
At WrestleMania, they'll give it to him at WrestleMania.
We'll see. We'll see. I mean, going back to Impact again, they just recently had a 6-man tag match, which was the Rascals, now 3 deep, going up against a handful of talent, which, Black Taurus, who I always love watching that guy wrestle. He's freaking amazing. And I forget whose tag team partners were for that match, but clearly the Rascals were going to go over, except they didn't.
Really?
Yeah, that's my point. When you watch Impact, you don't know who's going to win. Everything on paper said Rascals, they're the new team in town. They got, now I said a third person, they picked up Myron Reed. It's a great faction. It's their first trios match. Of course, they're going to win against 3 guys that are not a set team. And then I mean, I don't get why no one else is picking up those right. And they do it so often, maybe not so often enough that you have to watch the match because you don't know if they're going to win or lose. Anything can happen. You don't have that with WWE. Nobody cares about AEW.
I mean, honestly, other than Chad, is there anybody on Raw you want to see beat Gunther for the belt right now?
Well, there might be. Depending, where certain people land.
Yeah. I mean, but that's, I guess that's the point I was making, was it's like, if they're going to try to push this out with Chad and Gunther till WrestleMania, then you've got to put fillers in there, and they want to make Gunther look like a beast, the next coming of fucking Brock Lesnar, basically, when he hits WrestleMania and Chad goes over, because it'll be that much more, holy shit, he actually won. Kind of like what Cody should have done at WrestleMania with fucking Reigns, but that's neither here nor there now. So,
fact. D-Train is in the house. Haven't done that in a minute.
Right?
D-Train is in the house. What up, D-Train? Oh, lordy, lordy, lord. And then, let's see, we move on to Santos Escobar against Dragon Lee, which I am sure was a 5-star match. I just wasn't in a lucha mood.
Right. Did you watch it? Yes. It's actually the only one it's the match I watched intently because I love Dragon Lee. I loved him when he was in AAA. I liked him when he was over in New Japan. When they brought him to NXT, I was like, oh yeah, here we go. It was a very intense match. The only thing I didn't like about it is they killed or stopped. The match ended. They could have probably went another 10, 15 minutes and kept going. Them guys, the two of them together, they've got the fortitude to put on like a 20-minute, 30-minute match if they wanted to.
Yep. Ken Rogers with a good point. I understand why Damage Control lost, but I think they should have won. I totally agree with you. They just putting this faction together with the trio now of the Japanese ladies, which I'm loving that. Bailey's about to get kicked to the curb here.
Yeah.
So that might be a Mania moment. But I love the 3 of those girls together. I hope they give them a good year run at least.
I think Dakota, since she's still on the men's, is going to take over as a managerial for the 3 of them. since the four of them actually have a lot of history.
I see her and Bailey getting ostracized, and they'll have their own little tag team, and they'll turn face.
Nah, it'll only be Bailey that gets kicked out, and then you're going to have a reformation of the 4 horsewomen.
Now, I see Dakota having to make the choice after Bailey gets kicked out and sticks with her buddy who brought her back after being fired, and then is like her lackey to a certain degree, maybe, as much as you can be in a babyface role. Or maybe Bailey gets kicked out but still stays heel anyway, and Dakota becomes the babyface but stays with her, and then eventually they break down and go at one another.
I do. I think Dakota will stay. It'll be the 4 of them, but we will see.
We'll see indeed. All right, so moving on. Let's see. Rhea Ripley, I did watch this match, a lot of it, against Zoe Stark. I thought that was a pretty damn good performance by both of them, and Zoe never looked better.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Knew Zoe's not quite ready to take the title off of Rhea, but goddamn if she didn't give her a fucking run for her money. And it's the best I've seen Zoe Stark since she's been on the main roster. So
yeah, I mean, every move was really smooth, and it was coherent, and the story was good, and it, the forearms and shots looked like they were being laid in. I'm just saying, I thought that was a damn good match.
It was. Yep.
That brings us to the men's War Games match. The return of the Viper, Randy Orton. There were some good spots in this match. There were.
And if anybody thought Randy was going to come in and do something crazy after being out for 18 months with a redone back, you were sadly mistaken. That's why they played it the way they played it. And I was happy with it because when he did come in, he hit his classic spots. He hit the power slams. He hit the hanging DDTs, couple RKOs. And I like the fact that he's back to the classic Randy Orton. Got rid of that silly fucking mustache and little thing here.
Yep. The soul patch is gone. The spot that I really enjoyed a lot was the 5-way DDT.
Yes. Yeah.
I thought that way. And he told them all like 1, 2, 3, so that they would make sure they got it on mark. But my God, that looked beautiful.
Yep. That was good. I did like the little look between. I like the look between him and Jay there when he first came in, and then Jay hit the super kick on what was it, Finn? Yeah, and he's like, "Oh, okay, all right, we might be able to work, but we'll see how it goes because we all know Randy will flip on a switch, so we'll see."
Oh, brother! Well, and that was pretty much Survivor Series 2023 in a nutshell. That's what happened. So. All right. Well, it's nice talking to everybody, and y'all have a great rest of your day. And oh, wait, it's not actually over yet, is it?
Oh, no.
So,
well, they threw up the graphic.
When I tuned in, you got to keep in mind, I wasn't sure if anyone had debuted earlier in the night. That's why I wasn't sure. That's why I wasn't sure the show from that point on, because it might be spoiled. That for all I know, he could have come out, or anyone else could have debuted. A lot of free agents. Maybe a return or something like that I would have liked to have experienced. But I saw roll the dice. And I could already tell there was nobody new in the War Games match. It wasn't like there was some last-minute chicanery going on there.
Yep.
And then as they're going off the air and you see the logos popping up on the screen, I start going in the kitchen. And all of a sudden, I hear the noise in the background that sounds a little bit like CM Punk's music, but it can't be because they're off the air. And then I hear, "That's CM Punk." And I'm like, "What?" And I turn around and I come back, and there's Phil Brooks coming through the curtain. Oh, Lord. He and I have the same barber, which is to say bad. We need to both get new ones. I won't lie. I was surprised. I love the way they did it.
Yeah. Yep.
There's been some talk on the interweb today that people are thinking, at least one person in particular, was mentioning that I wish they would have done it a different day because it took away from Randy Orton in the main event. I've said that. I don't see it that way.
I kind of feel that way. I think if they would have waited till Rumble and had him as a surprise entrance in the Rumble, I think that might have been pretty good.
Predictable is the word I would use.
For the Rumble?
Yeah.
Or
If
for
he didn't
last
show
night?
up, first off, if you're going to bring him in, you have to do it in Chicago. Let's just be real. He would have gotten a pop in Tampa, don't get me wrong, but not that pop.
Yeah, you're right with that. No, Clown, I don't have a new camera. I just happened to get sleep, so that's why I look better today.
It's his Vaseline filter he's using.
And it does kind of make sense for him to bring him out the way they did, because you're already building for a storyline with him, with everything that happened off air. So
Now, D-Train is mentioning when Cole and Bryan debuted in AEW, which was CM Punk's first match in AEW.
Yeah.
And yeah, to his point, it was just, we've talked about this before. The old days of pay-per-views, this is what happened at pay-per-views. Some major, either a heel turn or a babyface turn, or on those real special occasions, somebody from WCW is now on WWE or WWF roster,
or vice versa. Yeah.
There was always that kind of an event, and you knew something like that's going to happen, which has been lost. This is the way it's supposed to go. There's a big surprise that you didn't see coming, even though you thought you saw it coming, but then by this time it's not happening, so it's not today at the very least, and then it happens.
Right.
Which also forces you to stick around and watch the show.
And I guess the way Triple H did it, he called the shots right there at the very end. He walked in from what I've read, he walked into Gorilla at the end of the match, told him to throw up the "we're going off the air" sign, waited a few minutes, and then he's the one who said, "I want you to play this." And the people in the production are going, "What?" He's like, "Play the music." And then out through Gorilla, here comes Punk. And from what I understand, Triple H was the only one who knew that this was going to happen. So if he did it, fucking awesome job. Because I wasn't expecting it.
There was definitely a few people who knew, not many, but there was Triple H was one, obviously. He even mentioned the fact that some of the guys at TKO probably had no clue whatsoever.
Right.
They were watching it on pay-per-view, probably going, "Oh shit."
Yeah.
But there were definitely a couple of people in the know. There's been two stories. One is that the guys in the ring knew, and one is that the guys in the ring didn't know. I gotta believe that they probably knew, because the only one who left the War Games and headed to the back immediately was Drew McIntyre.
Right.
He was gone before CM Punk made the entrance, right? So it doesn't make sense to me that you would do that unless you needed him out of there because you're going to keep everyone else that's in the main storyline, because he was a fill-in player.
Right.
So he's not part of the Judgment Day, therefore he doesn't need to be there. And then there's this fan video of what happened after we actually did go off the air. I don't know if you've seen what happened there with Seth Rollins.
Yeah, I've seen multiple versions of it at this point. So
yeah, so Seth,
from different perspectives and everything.
So this is what makes me believe they knew, because as well as that was played, and it was played very well, Seth, if you haven't seen the clip, comes out of the cage, looks up the aisle towards Punk, starts flipping him off, using the words "F you, F you."
Yeah.
And it looked legit. Like Cornette always complains, it never looks. This looked real, because it wasn't just like a bunch of wannabe wrestlers in yellow shirts being security. It was the actual road agents. It was some of the talent that was already near the area. Cody was kind of hanging out behind Seth, with the look on his face like, what's going on?
Yeah, Michael Cole even went up to him and was trying to calm Seth down.
Yeah, it was a good mix of confusion that definitely looked legit.
I mean, honestly, the way it looks, I mean, if you don't know if it's a work, it's a phenomenal work. If it's a shoot, they will turn it into a work. Either way it goes, it was shot. It was done very well. And we're off and fucking running. Monday night's going to be must see. So,
And that brings the next question: is where does Punk land? Is he going to be on SmackDown or is he going to be on Monday Night Raw?
Punk might be a free agent. Punk might get to go where he wants to go, where they need him.
That would be interesting. I'd be okay with that.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you've got a few guys that are like that right now. They've got them listed as free agents, and they can bounce between the shows. Or it might start a bidding war between Adam Pearce and Nick Aldis to who can sign Punk to their show.
Or maybe they have a match at WrestleMania and the winner gets Punk.
Ooh, that would be nice.
Punk
That
on
would
a
be
pole
good.
match.
Have him up in the cage above the ring.
No, tape him to the pole.
Oh, shit. So we're going to crucify somebody on WWE. We saw how that went with ECW.
No, literally, just like tape him up against the pole. I'm thinking more like Christmas Story with your tongue.
Oh, my God. I have to watch that. I haven't watched it yet. Thanksgiving's over. I need to watch
You've
that.
never seen it?
No, I seen it, but I always wait till after Thanksgiving to watch it because it's my Christmas movie.
All right, that's cool. Thought I had to just kick you out of the chat for a minute there, but we're okay now.
Oh, God, no. I have a list of them that I watch every year, so.
Ancient Clan, you are too funny, dude.
Well, maybe one of us will do a Punk on a pole match. We'll see if we can get one of the modders to mod it for us.
Not anymore, they can't.
No, that's true. I might be able to do it with Fire Pro. We'll see.
CM Punk had multiple failed story arcs and is only remembered for his pipe bomb. And I don't know if I can agree with that. I think CM Punk had a lot of good stuff, especially in his WWE run. With the whole Straight Edge Society with Serena and Gallows. I thought that was really good stuff. I didn't care for his takeover of the Nexus. I thought that fell flat.
No, it didn't have. I know they tried. They wanted it to be like the Straight Edge Society kind of deal, and you're right. It didn't have the same impact.
Well, again, Saga, there's a lot of people that did not know. I believe that the announce team didn't know. I think they wanted a real reaction from them. 5 or 6 years from now, there's going to be shoot interviews with everybody, and we'll know exactly who knew. But I think it's going to be less than 5 people.
And Cole's even said in prior interviews and stuff that Triple H has been keeping stuff from the announce team because he wants that honest reaction and stuff from them.
I would do if I was in his position. I wouldn't. You can't possibly sell it the same if you know what's going to happen.
Right. I mean, honestly, I was just going to say, like you said, if they kept out the people, or they kept the people in the know that's going to be involved in the storyline. That way they could set up Seth. And then you've got Cody and all the other guys that are going to be the major players going forward. They want them to know so they can all start working on what we're going to do next. So.
Yeah, Ken, I agree with you. You can't do what he's done and not be a talent. I don't agree with the guy on a lot of things. I'm glad now that he's back in the WWE, he won't be doing some of the crap that he was doing in the AEW. But other than that, I think I can't wait for it. Might not happen on Monday night in his first promo, but at some point in time, he's going to take shots at the AEW. I mean, I can totally see him saying something about, you better be afraid for your life, man. There's going to be some shots fired. No two ways about it.
And of course, everybody's going to be looking for that, for the whole backstage drama. And it's not going to happen here because Triple H ain't going to allow it to happen. And that's the difference between WWE and AEW. Tony Khan does not have the balls to fucking tell his guys, shut the fuck up, do your goddamn job, or you're out of here. Triple H will fire your shit on the spot, or you just won't be on fucking TV.
So D-Train Impact does not have the kind of money to throw at him that the WWE does. They don't have the audience. Yes, they would bring in more of an audience, but I mean, look, CM Punk knows this is his last hurrah, and he's going to cash out.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy got paid, I believe, $3 million for his Talking SmackDown contract, which only lasted about a month.
Oh, when they were on Fox, yeah.
Yeah. And they ended up canceling the series for low ratings. He didn't bring the ratings up, but he still got his contract taken care of. So he made like almost $1 million an episode, somewhere in that ballpark. Not a bad gig.
Right. Not a bad gig. I guarantee you that he probably got Triple H probably said, I'll give you a contract through a year, and then he'll probably put him on a Legends contract after that for a little while. I can see that happening so they can keep doing the merchandising, licensing, and all that for him.
Sure.
And have him appear here and there.
And I think we can all now safely assume that we know what the pre-order DLC content is going to be for 2K24.
Right. If not, they're fucking, well, we know they're fucking stupid, but, you know,
hey. It's still not going to make me buy it, but now we know what it is.
Right.
Couple that with a Bray Wyatt pack of some sort as well.
Yep.
Yeah, no, he signed a multi-year deal. The question is, will it be all in-ring work, or will he, you know, like Jay was saying, turn into a Legends contract of some sort?
Right.
The one thing, and I'm sure we don't have any video or anything of it, you never know with the WWE. I want to see the conversation between him and Triple H that led to the signing.
I guess from what I've been reading, is that they had an hour conversation.
Yeah. That's what I want.
Friday.
I want to see that.
I want to see that. Right. And he didn't sign the deal until Saturday, so they could say it was done that day. Triple H probably came in and said, look, I know all I got to do is put a mic in your hand and you'll make us money. So if you make us money, I'll give you money. That was probably it. Phil probably was like, okay, yeah, I can do that. I can run my mouth. You know that. So.
And then there's the other aspect of this, which is, what does this do to the value of AEW? Your founder left. Kate Cargill, rather. She left. One of the top talents that you actually did cultivate. And she left. And now the guy that you brought out of a 7-year hiatus that nobody thought would ever get back in a wrestling ring, you bring him back only for him to say you're a complete shit show, and he left. And every one of them goes to the competition.
Yep.
Meantime, AEW is holding the bag with 50-something-year-old Christian as one of their longest reigning champions. I mean, in all honesty, you've got MJF. Okay, congratulations. He's probably already re-signed, I would think, even though they're not admitting it. I mean, if they lose him, they just have to shut off the lights and close the doors.
And that's the thing you got to look at within this last year of who's went to them and who's come to WWE, which ones have had the most impact. Of course, the ones who went to WWE has had the most impact. Yeah. I mean, for all I love Edge and shit, it wasn't enough to make me watch it. AEW product.
We have watched him for 30 years. We've already seen the best of Edge. What do I want to see 52-year-old Edge for?
I mean, I still like him. I still think he can go. It's just I don't want to see him over there.
I still like him. I don't know that he can go. Not. I mean, he'll even be the one to tell you I can't do what I used to do. Of course you can't. You're 52.
Right.
And it's like I said, AEW is nothing more than Dixie Carter 2.0. I mean, they're taking all of the WWE talent after its best years have already been had. Only difference, at least Dixie had some wrestling going on. She didn't have, you know, that new intro I put together for the show here that we started off with. As I was pulling clips, And I'm looking at that conversation we had about AEW when they came out with a new statement that we're going to cut back on all this crazy crap and everything has to be approved. And then here you are a couple of weeks ago with a guy bleeding into another guy's mouth so he could spit it up into the air. That was approved? Well, that's why you can't pan out on your audience, because there's empty seats everywhere. People aren't going to watch a shit show. Yeah, you have your...
I liked your tweet you put out about that. So
yeah, this is what it looks like when you can pan out and have a full house. You can't do that in AEW because you'll see patches of empty seats, or probably I should say patches of occupied seats. You know, you got a 12,000 seat arena that you're putting 6,000 seats in, or people in. That's because you're putting on a mud show piece of shit. So much for pathos. Does that make any sense?
I don't understand that. Not to me.
It's a purist moment. That's cool. That's all right.
But it'll be interesting. I mean, because Punk's one of those few people, he don't have to wrestle. He can talk. You put a mic in his hand and he can go on for, well, fuck, we saw it with the pipe bomb. He went, 30, 45 minutes through commercial breaks?
Not that long. It might have seemed like it was actually about 20 minutes at the end of Raw.
Okay.
But it was a good promo. But bottom line is you didn't want it to end because it was that good.
Yeah. So you put the mic in his hand, let him talk. Down the road, he might be a manager for somebody, be a mouthpiece. He could do that.
It's a Monty
now
Python
I'm a Monty Python fan purist, and I don't even get that reference. So you're going to have to explain on this.
And I have not. The only Monty Python I know is about the sword fight, and it's only a flesh wound. That's literally all I know about Monty Python. Oh, he isn't live? I still don't get it. I'm relying on you if you can make sense of any of this. And here's the thing, Ken. In watching some of that back as everybody was talking about it, I think the match wasn't bad at all from the parts of that I saw with Hangman and Swerve. And yeah, it is an old-fashioned Texas death, so they're breaking out the barbed wire. I got no problem with that. Steel chair wrapped in it, pile driver on it. I'm good with all that. But when you take a guy's bleeding head, force it to pour into your own mouth just for the effect of spitting it up in the air, that's just shit, period. And it makes you change the channel and not go back ever.
Right.
And if Tony's too stupid to know that, he deserves what comes next.
I was watching the best of the Survivor Series or the War Games matches, and one of them had Brian Pillman in it. Now, the effect he did was, of course, who is he fighting? I think it was Arn Anderson, and he was busted open. And Pillman put his face to his head like he was biting him. And when he came up, yes, there was blood on his face from Arn. That was a better effect than seeing somebody spit somebody's blood.
They're watching them drink.
And there wasn't. Right. We've talked about this before. There's ways to make things more impactful. To me, that would be more impactful than seeing somebody drink somebody's blood and spit it out. That's just, I don't know.
I mean, there's just nothing.
Especially this day and age.
You have to believe there were hepatitis tests done prior to that to make sure, and HIV tests.
Oh, God, I hope so.
Oh, well, you know, it is AEW. I guess we shouldn't presume.
Don't tell us what we can do. Cry me a river.
You both have 3 months to live. Congratulations. I saw somebody say that posted a picture of Jungle Boy flipping off the fans, I guess, saying this is the beginning of the end for AEW. And I'm like, no, Tony Khan is the beginning of the end for AEW. Don't give anyone else credit for it. And I know people
And
like Blaze will come out here and say that it's wrestling and everyone has to have something and we need this and alternate. I agree that we need alternate wrestling organizations and competition is great. I'm just telling you, AEW is crap. It's not going to last, not unless something major happens. And I know Tony's got money and his dad's money, but just like Dixie had dad's money, eventually it runs out and dad stops giving you more because God knows you've blown a lot.
Yeah,
And
especially if your people leave on you like they are.
Yeah. They haven't grown an audience, quite the opposite. It's degenerating right now. They are losing numbers. Their TV ratings are down, and people can say, well, that doesn't count the way it used to. Yeah, it still does because their TV numbers against WWE's TV numbers. Whatever those are, you can measure them.
Right.
Whether you have social media, whether you have the the Peacock Network, whatever it is, it's a measurable. The TV, the same number of people that no longer have cable, the people that do have cable, that's the pot you're drawing from for that niche. So if you're turning around saying the TV ratings, maybe they used to be 30 million cable subscribers, and now maybe there's only 5 million. But the question is, how many of that 5 million are you getting versus WWE? WWE's taking all of it just about at this point in time.
And even if you don't want to go by the ratings, just like you said, look at the audience, look at the live audience. When you have a full house here and you have a half a house here, which one is people more invested in?
Clearly, and there's a reason for that.
Yeah.
You know, a couple of years back when CM Punk made his debut return, they were filling places up. I was here in Orlando myself. First time I'd gone to a live wrestling match in a decade.
Right.
And it was a good night, good show, good talent. Well done. Somewhere along the lines, man, they just got crazy.
They can't get out of their own fucking way is the problem. They get on a roll and then Tony Khan does something or the talent does something stupid and it fucking derails it.
The inmates running the asylum. It all comes down to it.
Yep.
So, I mean, look, I'm not going to sit here and say that I wish they would just go out of business already, but a part of me feels that way because it's like, just, you're not going to bring anything of value to the business. Some of your talent will be better off being without a job right now because they'll find someplace else. Maybe they'll go to an Impact and realize, oh, wow, this is how it's supposed to be. Maybe some of them will get picked up by WWE. Who knows? Go to
some
New
of
Japan.
them could go toward Japan. Yeah.
But when you do it as bad as AEW does, I just feel like you deserve not to be able to do it. Doesn't affect me either way because they don't do it for me. I don't watch them at all. Right. By the way, I love what they did with their video game. On a given day, anywhere from 50 to 100 people are still playing this game. And they think that someone's going to pay $25 for season number 2's DLC pass that so far only comes with 3 characters, Tony Storm and the Acclaimed.
A new arena.
Type, which is the Beat the Elite, which is basically just, Mortal Kombat.
Tower.
Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tower. And I forget, the arena that you should have already had to begin with.
Right.
Seriously, I was going to ask, did anyone actually pay for this? But if you did, don't tell me because I don't want to lose respect. I just can't. I don't care if you're the biggest Acclaim fans in the world. The game sucks. They are spending time and energy on all the wrong stuff.
Yep. Because they've done a couple things like, WWE has. They have the trios matches, but you can only do that in story mode. Why couldn't you have it where it unlocked to do it in the rest of the game after you beat story mode? Same shit we bitch about with WWE in the fucking card mode.
Yeah, but at least WWE gives you enough to work on that you don't need it. I mean, whatever they're going to put in the card mode, we got creators that can make it. And that's without hacking it in. Okay. I mean, yeah, it would be easier if Status could just do what he did in the past, but that's fine.
Right.
Because we've got some really super talented people out there right now. Like, this is why I'm not worried about CM Punk being a DLC next year and all that, because I've got CM Punk availability right now that's going to be better than what they put in the game.
Yep. I've already seen like 3 people put out shit for him.
Yeah. So I don't need their 2K24 version. But you would be hard pressed to build anything that doesn't suck when it comes to the creation mode in Fight Forever. That it is just a dismal piece of crap.
I saw a Rob Van Dam before I came on here. I'm like, that looks nothing like Rob Van Dam, and it wasn't the person's fault. They did what they could with what was given to them, and you just can't do it.
Nope, and I wouldn't waste my time on it. And that's the thing. People aren't wasting their time. I mean, you have nothing to offer. The gameplay itself is okay. That's it. Nothing better than okay. And you got, what, 4 match types?
Yeah.
What are you going to do with that? All right. Well, I wanted to pick your brain about the CM Punk thing and obviously hear what the folks out here in the nation had to say. For those of you that watch this later on in the day, drop your thoughts and ideas about the CM Punk big surprise from last night down in the comments below, and I will respond. I'm just very curious to see where this goes. Obviously, it seems like he's going to be going after Seth Rollins, or Seth Rollins is going to be going after him based on what happened last night after the show. It'll be interesting.
Yeah, this will be Seth's heel turn.
Yeah, I mean, and there's something to be said about that too. You keep turning a guy back and forth, and when has that ever worked well? When have you ever elevated somebody that just constantly goes back and forth?
Yeah. Yep.
By the way, I guess we're really forgetting one of the best things that came out of last night. Ryback is officially retired.
Oh yeah, I saw those posts.
Yeah,
I'll retire if he shows up.
So hopefully it's not a Rosie O'Donnell thing where you're going to move to Canada if Trump is president and then he gets elected and the fat bitch doesn't leave. Hopefully Ryback is going to be a man of his word. Shut the fuck up and just go away. It's not like anyone's listening to you anyway, man. You haven't been relevant in a decade and you were barely relevant then. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we're going to wrap it up for this episode of WretleChat, going over the details of Survivor Series 23. We'll be back with some more stuff in the not too distant future. In the meantime, say goodbye, Jay.
Goodbye, Jay.
Goodbye, everybody. We'll be back with some more of this stuff in the near future. Take care and be safe. Actually watched a little bit of AEW, not a lot. Just enough to remind me why I don't watch it. Oh, this is already funny. Just the headline. The list of moves and actions that are now banned from AEW or need to be approved by the company.
Maybe that's why Nash is pissed off, because he went for Brock and Austin and not try to duplicate him.
Well, it'd be easier to duplicate him. You only have to learn 5 moves.
Like you said, and we've all been saying, Tony Khan, you need a hierarchy, and he gets one, and then we make fun of it.
Because he's sitting back there talking about the Brock match, and finally we had a wrestling match. Finally we got 2 guys telling a story. They weren't outside in the ring the whole time. One of them
was he not watching the same match as we were?
Yeah, those games, man, I would say, like, for me, like, the best ones, I would say, are like the ones where they try to get a certain, like, time.
This is my entire IT team right here on screen. Everybody.